It was not meant to be for the San Jose Sharks to get their second 3-game winning streak. We'll break down this loss to the Florida Panthers, and we'll get into those trade wins starting to really blow around the National Hockey League right now here on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night, February 9th, 2023. The San Jose Sharks lose to the Florida Panthers 4-1. Waka waka. And if you're a longtime Panthers fan, you know what that meant. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans and hockey fans all over the world in Sharks territory on the YouTube page and the app. And, of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And, of course, if you want to support the pod, you can do that on Venmo at tealtownusa or hit us up in our super chat donation. And with that, I like to say good evening to you, Mr. Ian Reed.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Ian. Today we're going to talk about the San Jose Sharks.
Oh, okay. All right. We are the Sharks coming off that crazy come from behind victory to the Tampa Bay Lightning. You just threw me off there. Just a crazy comeback, and then you have this where Florida obviously celebrating their 7-1 victory over Tampa the night before the Sharks beat them, but let's be honest here. They were really pissed off about Victory Rat getting pummeled by a Tampa Bay Lightning fan the other night.
Yeah, little unfortunate thing there. It's like, who beats up a mascot?
Right? I don't know.
Like, don't these people have people to protect them?
The guy was just looking at him. Like, seriously. Oh, and let's be honest here. Sharky would have kicked that guy's butt.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right. Gritty would have thrown that guy into, like, on the ice.
The Panthers mascot threw his jersey and down a tunnel. I mean, I would be afraid to see what Gritty would actually do when he throw him down the tunnel with them. Oh, boy. All right. Joking aside, Sharks get into this with a chance to go streaking... Well, I guess, in the search of a 3-game winning streak. The interesting one here, Panthers hadn't gone on a 3-game winning streak prior to tonight's game. So that's going to be an interesting one there. Bobrovsky's always dominated the Sharks. Kahkonen, his first time playing his 3rd game in a row, albeit, 3rd game in 2 weeks. But, they got going a little early. I mean, Barabanov gets that goal to make it 1-0. A nice play. I know they only gave it to Carlson, but I thought also Asimont did some stuff there down low to get them the opening goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice setup. I've liked Asimont so far. I think he's done work. This team's lineup decisions continue to puzzle me. And we've mentioned, like Acemont's been fine, right? But here's another guy who the Sharks are going to bring in that is going to play way over his fucking head, and then other guys just can't even lace up their skates. So I don't know, man. It's great. I don't dislike, I don't want people to think that I dislike Eastmont. I think he's been great.
Right.
But I know what he is. Right. And I don't know, this whole team befuddles me.
I'm assuming you're referring to why LeBanc is scratched again?
Yeah, just in general, just lineup choices. I mean, LeBanc being scratched, maybe they're going to trade him, and maybe that's, maybe something's close. Maybe that's why Reimer hasn't, played in a couple of games. Although I think Kahkonen was really good. Like the last couple of games, like I don't hang this on Kahkonen at all. I think he's been actually pretty good the last couple of games, which is nice to see because I think he's had a season to absolutely forget. So I do want to give him credit there. Kevin Labanc again, but we've talked about this on previous shows too, right? Like, but this is coach 3. So there's something going on there that we don't know about.
Right. Something's not kosher at the moment because for as offensively talented as Kevin Labanc is,
this is the third time, third coach where he's ended up in the doghouse by the end of the season. So I don't know what it is. I'd be fascinated to find out what it is. But like, and I'm not like, this isn't me simping for Quinn here, right? Like, but these are facts. Like, you can't deny that this has become a recurring thing under 3 different coaches with Kevin Labanc. So I think, again, like, you can dress Gregor and Labanc at the same time. It's okay. You can do it. Right. There's no rule saying you can't, but the Sharks continue to be like, nope, only one of them can dress. And, but all our fourth liners playing on, every line on the team, those guys can stay.
You need that Jonah Gadjevich, that's for sure. I mean, come on. PJ48 in the chat, I like Asimont, but why is he on the second line? He isn't going to play there next season. And how can you trade Labanc if he isn't on the ice? I completely agree. Go ahead, Leon.
No, I like that, and that's my point, right? Like, I like Asimont, but again, he's another guy that they've just elevated beyond his station because he plays the game the right way. Well, and that's fine, I guess, if the goal is losing, which the Sharks are doing well right now. I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a head scratcher to me because if you're going to try to eventually move him, and he's not going to be part of your team, then why do you have him? And not to bring up a Golden State Warrior reference, but it's why do you have James Wiseman if you're not going to play him? Then move him like the Warriors did today,
Well, I mean, here's the problem, right? Like, Kevin Labanc makes almost $5 million.
Right.
So obviously, like, that is a significant cap number for, I think, a lot of teams that would be interested. Even if you retain cap, like, I think the problem with the NHL salary cap structure with COVID doing what it is you have, like, I think Kevin Labanc is a good player, but he's not an elite player. And I think the problem is the NHL has too many good players making too much money.
Yeah.
Right. And again, now if Kevin Labanc signed his deal before COVID happened, last I remember, I don't know, it feels like it's been 400 years.
Yeah.
Right. But I think with the current situation now, like, obviously the cap eventually is going to go up again. But until it does, like, players like Kevin Labanc making almost $5 million, like, that's what's really putting the screws, I think, to some teams. And it makes them hard to move too, because again, you had to have to retain cap, and that the Sharks, look at eventually at some point the Sharks don't want the cap to go up only for that to cover the number of players that are still paying to not play for them.
Salary retention or buyouts at this point, I mean, that's the last thing you want to do is just have that much dead money only to have the cap increase by essentially $1 million if it goes up $1 million, like we've talked about on Sunday. So Sharks off to a good start, 1-0 lead after 20. Then the second period begins. I thought they looked decent, but I thought Florida really took it to them, and again, a Gadjevich fight with this time it's Johnny Smith, and the other team grabs the momentum off of it. Reinhart gets a pair of goals to kind of give the Panthers a 2-1 lead, into the locker room after 40 minutes.
Yeah. And again, one of those last minute goals that have just seemed to plague the Sharks all season. I don't know. I thought, but overall though, I thought like the Sharks hung around this game for a long time. And I think they do deserve some credit. I think Kaapo Kahkonen deserves a ton of credit because I think he made a ton of really
Absolutely.
good saves tonight. Like I think this was probably one of his best games in quite some time. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be. I don't think. I thought the Sharks had their chances though.
Right. I thought they had some nice chances, and you saw Meyer with some chances. Hurdle got some chances in there. I thought they were very competitive in this game, and as we mentioned before throughout the year, at least this has been entertaining. I thought they played fairly well.
Yeah, like I don't like. There have been games this year where it's like, wow, that was a complete waste of my time. I wouldn't say that about this game, despite how it
No,
ended. Like I was into it. I was into it for most of the game. I don't like the way it ended, obviously, but or maybe I do. I mean, depends on it depends on where you're coming from, right?
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, well, yeah, of course. If you're in Team Tank, you're loving this because the Sharks finally lost in regulation. But at the third period, I mean, I realistically, I thought the Panthers really took over
Yeah.
the third period, and then you had that 4-minute double minor on Meyer where he got high stick pressure
Where?
twice,
Yeah,
and
brutal.
and yeah, brutal was pretty much the way you could describe this power play late in the game. And that goes without saying for a number of things. Carlson turns the puck over. Nobody's moving. I mean, freaking Carlson's in the jumbo spot on the half boards on the right side looking for something, and it's like nothing's there. Um, it's just you got to be better than that. And I think going back into the chat, SJ Sharks fan 39 saying a 4-minute power play, you don't take out the goalie until halfway through. The offensive zone time was non-existent. That power play might have been the worst excuse for a power play I've seen all season long, and the power play has been terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, that whole they tried to. I think they got a little too loose trying to get things going. I think they tried to force a lot of plays, and I think when you try and force a lot of plays, um, you're going to see what happened tonight, where I think turnovers happened, right? And I think I understand why you'd want to get the puck to Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson's kind of driven the bus all year, but I feel like I don't know. I felt like they're just trying to force plays to him instead of you know
Yeah,
looking for what was there. And I think the Florida Panthers keyed in on the fact that the puck was going to Karlsson, and they played it properly, and and made Erik Karlsson look kind of silly on a couple of occasions that led to a couple of empty net goals. I'm kind of surprised. The other thing I'm kind of surprised with, though, is they didn't empty the net sooner, because I thought there was a portion of that power play where Kakkonen was still in net. I mean, look at
yeah,
what's the worst that can happen, right? You lose the game. Well, you're already losing anyway. Who cares? And again, with where the Sharks are, they can afford to stop putting points on the board at this point. So,
So yeah, that's a tough one. And then of course Eric Stahl gets 2 empty net goals, 2 shorthanded empty net goals, um, which we'd have to look in the playbook record book, and or I know Uncle Darren Stevens will probably put it out on Twitter. Like, when's the last time the Sharks have allowed 2 shorthanded empty net goals? But either way, it's a 4-1 final for the Sharks, losing to the Florida Panthers. For the Panthers, it's their first 3-game winning streak all season.
yeah, I think if there's a team that would probably want to have a do-over on their summer, I'm pretty sure it's the Florida Panthers. Just, I don't know what, like, the Panthers are a weird team to me because I mean, obviously they made moves that I thought they were going to get better. But then you also do that, like you bring in Paul Maurice, like it's weird to me, right? Like I understand that they weren't happy with the way they left the playoffs last year, but at the same time, like, and I like Paul Maurice, but like Paul Maurice isn't the guy that I bring in to like take my team over the hump to win a cup, right? Like Paul Maurice is the guy I bring in like to a rebuilding team or a team that's kind of like
Lost their way.
yeah, yeah. Whereas I don't feel like I thought Florida really overreacted to the way they went out of the playoffs last year. And yeah, I don't know.
I was really surprised as to why they didn't extend Andrew Burnett after what he did after taking over for Quinville. So
Yeah, they did him kind of dirty, but I mean, didn't he like? Didn't he just get like nabbed with a DUI or something? So who
he
knows?
did in Florida. So maybe they kind of maybe long
I
term.
don't know. I still think like I just think they overreacted to the to going out to the Lightning, and I think sometimes teams do that, right, where they make a lot of rash decisions. Look, um I don't hate all their moves, but I just feel like they really overreacted, and they've got some, they've had an interesting team build as is, and I don't know, like you can't go wrong. Like bringing in a guy like a Chuck, I think is fine. But I just, yeah, behind the bench, I still scratch my head at like, oh, you think you need to get over the hump, so you bring in Paul Maurice. I don't know, just seems weird to me.
And if I'm not mistaken, Barkov's, and granted, I didn't see him on the ice tonight. In fact, just looking into the score sheet, he's not even listed on there. He hasn't been the same with Huberdeau gone,
No.
and yeah, and that's a bummer for him because I've always loved Barkov's play, but it's a different team around. It's a little got more toughness to it, more grit.
More sandpaper, at least. I don't know what toughness, but sandpaper, sure.
You know, I didn't even, Montour got, I think, underneath the skin of the Sharks a little bit during that second period, and it's like, oh boy, he hit Couture where he was out for a bit. I mean, you talk about guys who were getting banged up. Sturm and Ferraro block shots. All of them stayed in the game, so good on them. You just hope that they're okay and ready to go for Washington on Sunday.
Yeah.
But Karlsson did get an assist, despite a rough night turning it over, and a -3 for that matter, which means he was on the ice for literally all the goals.
Yeah.
But for Karlsson, he's the first dispensman. Let me try it again. Karlsson's the first defenseman since Paul Coffey in 88-89 to get to the 70-point mark in his 53rd game of the year. So if you're going to have that, at least you got that. But dang it, EK. Rough night for you, bud.
Yeah, and again, like I think I'm not trying to like shield Erik Karlsson from criticism, but I also think like again, like the Sharks were trying to force the puck to him, and the Panthers read it perfectly, and they played it perfectly.
Right.
It's an X's and O's thing, just as much as that. So
a lot. PJ 48. Karlsson got 3 assists for Florida tonight. Yeah. Fortunately, they don't count toward his search for 100. So that goes in the books as a 4-1 loss for the Sharks. So quick little recap on that. But I guess the trade winds have been blowing, Ian, especially today. A quick recap of what did happen. The Rangers acquired Vladimir Tarasenko and Nico Mikola from the Blues. The Blues get Sammy Blais back, Hunter Skinner. They get a first round pick. We'll find out later if it's the Blue, or if it's New York's or Dallas's. Sorry for the typo there, and a 2024 fourth round pick. And with all the trade wins now that the Islanders got Bo Horvat, they had that haul as well with, the Canucks getting, Beauvillier and Ratty and a conditional 2023 first. Yeah. You have to think this is kind of around the haul that the Sharks would get if they were to move Timo.
You would hope so. I mean,
if not better.
I think better. I mean, if I look at if I like Vladimir Tarasenko, but I don't man, maybe like going to a new team will maybe just lights on fire being on the Rangers, but I would rather have Timo Meier at this point in his career than Vladimir Tarasenko.
Agreed. And Tarasenko's been trying to get out of St. Louis for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took as long as it did for him to get out there. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, I look at like let me look this up here quick.
You can look that up. I'll go through the chat. I think we got some comments from the dressing room while we do that. From Hurdle on the 4-minute power play, we got a couple of looks, couple of shots. We should probably get it in. Maybe we need to be more patient. Hurdle also said too many turnovers, and in the D zone we cheat and make it easy on them. We had chances we should have put in. Hurdle is very talkative tonight, apparently. I have to shoot more and stop looking for the other guys. I had a great couple of chances tonight that I didn't bury. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that 110%.
Kahkonen was saying overall good game. Structure was good. We only took one penalty. We'll give them that. They only did take one penalty, but good job on the PK. But unfortunately, the power play 0 for 3 and allowed 2 shorties. Quinn went on to say, we looked good early, then got sloppy. Here's that word again. It's demoralizing to give up a goal at the end of the period. Too many times this year, story of our season in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I'm just looking up now. Like, you're getting, like, in Vladimir Tarasenko, sorry to bounce us back here.
You're good.
Tarasenko's 31 and has 29 points. He has 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points this year. 31. Timo Meier is significantly younger. Like, I would be super annoyed if the Sharks took that return from New York for Timo Meier.
Now, how many games has Tarasenko played this year? That's a curious one.
38.
38 games, and he's got 29 points, while Meier has 30 goals.
Right.
In essentially 40 some odd games, because he was on the Schneid for like the first 10, 12 games of the year. So,
yeah and again, like, and here's the other thing too, right? Like, obviously, like, the Tarasenko thing kind of got stirred up a little bit recently.
Right.
But here's the thing that, like, this is the point that I cannot make enough. The Sharks don't have to trade Timo Meier. Timo Meier hasn't asked out.
No. He hasn't said trade me right effing now.
Right. Like, he hasn't asked out. Like, the Sharks don't have to trade Timo Meier. So you can say, if you don't give me the return I want, you can hang up the phone. Right. You don't have to trade him.
You can put him out there. You don't even have to say done deal. You can just look at it and be like, hey, this is what they want and everything. And for that matter, God, what was it? I think it was Sportsnet 590, the fan up in Toronto. And I laughed at what one of their guys was asking.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying, to Toronto, Timo Meier, Steven Lawrence, the Sharks would receive Pierre Engvall, Alex Kerfoot, Matthew Knies, a 2023 third rounder, and a 2024 second rounder. I'm like, if you don't have a first rounder in there, it's a no.
It's garbage, man. Like, this again. Everyone needs content, including us. I just
find that laughable.
Yeah, it's an incredibly laughable return for Timo Meier, absolutely. And I would hang up the phone.
Absolutely, and for that matter, I don't know if Toronto would even be able to re-sign him unless there's a big name coming back. So.
Yeah, I don't know how they make that cap work, but. And that's the other thing too, right? Like, you have to, if you're a team that is going to give up a bunch of assets for Timo Meier, like, you're not going to, you have to risk that he just signs his QO, right? Yeah. The Leafs don't have $10 million in cap space for Timo Meier's qualifying offer.
No.
And you're not gonna not qualify him and make him a UFA, so you give up a bunch of assets for nothing. I don't know, man. I'm surprised that we've had as many big moves so far as we've seen, because I didn't think there would be much going on. I mean, obviously, like, you still hear, like, obviously, Chicago has a couple of guys that they could probably move for something. And I think if you're in their situation, you just trade them for whatever at this point, because I think anything's better than
Nothing.
The Hawks aren't going anywhere. You have bajillions of cap space. Like obviously I think they would obviously want a decent return for either Tays or
Right.
Kane, but you could take a mediocre return because again, they could just walk as UFAs anyway. So what's the point, right?
And for that matter, they hold all the cards. If I'm not mistaken, they both have no moves in
Yes.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
no moves. And again, like Chicago has all the cap space. So if they want to retain Max on both contracts, they absolutely can. I think they would still even hit the floor.
right.
So
There's all that. So all that's happening. You get Horvat, Tarasenko. I think it was our good friend Gen X who tweeted out the live look at what TSN is preparing for Trade Center was them balancing and spinning plates on a table.
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you're gonna, especially as that gets closer, you hear, oh, this name might move, this name might move, but again, it's just a bunch of carnies trying to make you watch their 4 hour trade deadline show where nothing's gonna happen.
So join us on March 3rd when we. No.
We'll come on and talk about anything happens after.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting on for
no.
4
No. If a
waiting
trade
for the Sharks to trade James Reimer for a fourth.
No, we won't do that. We won't do that. But if a trade does come down for the Sharks, we will be on no matter. I don't want to say no matter what, but
no matter what, the world ends, we'll still be here.
That's right. Looking in the chat here, AO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are just trying to lowball Sharks because they know our situation and new and experienced general manager.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure they're going to get a bunch of baloney offers, right?
Yeah.
But I just hope that Mike Greer remembers that he doesn't have to trade Timo Meier.
Hey, I mean with that puck off the noggin earlier today, hell, the Earthquakes are probably going to call for. Seriously, what's next? But I mean, let's see. We've heard. I think Kevin Weeks tweeted us that Carolina's interested. Obviously, the Rangers are out, so I'm guessing it's the Devils and even, dare I say, the Vegas Golden Knights. How?
Again, the cap's a thing. I would love for them to bring in Timo Meier and then just future considerations, another big money guy, and just gift a team another player because they can't manage the cap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, again, right? Like, the Golden Knights with what cap space? I understand, like, they've got some LTIR space, but then you have to plan ahead of this year. And again, like, if I'm the Golden Knights, let me take a look at the standings.
You look at that. To me,
I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm just like, I have nothing prepared like I normally do.
But to me, I'm going to look at Seattle. I'm surprised Seattle hasn't been calling for him yet, because I would think Seattle would be in play for it, and they could sign him.
Yeah, but isn't this kind of like, for Seattle, isn't this kind of found money?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a second year. I mean, they're no Vegas, thank God. They had 1 year. Well, let's see. Cap space for Seattle is, $574,000 because everybody and their mother is.
Yeah, they've got things that they're going to have to do too. I don't know. They don't make a lot of sense, right? And if you want to talk about too many guys making $5 million, look at the Seattle Kraken. I think they've got things that they're going to have to do eventually, though. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't think it makes sense. Like, Timo Meier doesn't make sense there. I think if you're a team like, like Carolina, the Devils, I think the Devils really, they're the team that fascinate me the most, because obviously, look at, the Rangers have made their move, so now I'm kind of waiting to see what the Devils do, because I think the Devils are going to want to make their own move now, right? It's kind of an arms race between the two of them, and I'm curious to see what happens. Man, the Devils, they have been, if you want to talk about teams being the bridesmaid, that has been the New Jersey Devil. It seems like they've been in on a lot of things, and they've just never gotten the player.
Yeah.
So
And
I
for
think
that,
as well as as good as the Devils have been this year, like I think if the Devils come out of this trade deadline and they haven't made any moves again, like I think there's going to be a lot of discontent in New Jersey.
we shall see. Of course, Heishier is there, so there's a little bit of a carrot dangling for them. And man, Devils have been awesome this year. Hell, especially on the road. So who knows what's next for them? I mean, I like how the chat is helping out on where you could go. Colorado has $7.2 million cap space. Minnesota 10.8. Buffalo will not make a move due to the owner having a recent heart attack.
I mean, Buffalo's a team that I think is fascinating to watch. Like they're currently sitting 4 points out of the wild card spot, but I mean the team that they're chasing in the Pittsburgh Penguins have played the same amount of game as them, but like the Islanders and the Panthers have both played 4 and 5 more games. So yeah, the Panthers and the Islanders have more points, but they have 5 games in hand on the Islanders and 4 on the Penguins. Unfortunately on the Panthers and five on the Islanders and 4 on the Panthers. Now, unfortunately for them, the Penguins, the team that hold the last wildcard spot, have played the same amount of games as them, so they do have to make up some ground there. But Buffalo, if you looked at it like a quick glance, you'd think, oh, Buffalo's way out of there, but they're not.
Right.
They're really not that far out.
No, and it's quite interesting. Good on Buffalo for doing what they've been doing. I mean, yeah, Vegas is in first place with with the Kraken, Oilers, and Kings just a point behind. That's just a crazy race. But the Pacific Division six. You know, it's nice to see Buffalo making a resurge here, and I know Ao mentioned it. That Eichel trade sure panned out for Vegas so well for them.
He was fine. Like him and Stone together are stupid good. Again, I don't know. Vegas is a tricky thing because I feel like they're a team that I know they're in first in the Pacific and I know they're having a pretty decent season, but I just wonder if it's just if you're the Golden Knights, do you just stand pat?
Can they handle standing pat for the
I
first
don't
time
know.
in franchise history?
I don't know. Ask Bill Foley. But I feel like that's a team that I wonder if they should just stand pat. Like I don't. Again, like how I admire the aggressiveness on how aggressive they've been trying to get that cup, but I feel like they've also shortened their window significantly quicker. I don't know if that's maybe that's a little hyperbolic, but I feel like they could have had a. Again, it's hard to say this about a team that's first in their division, but
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like I just feel like eventually all these moves are going to add up. And I just wonder if do they really want to make another move that might maybe it helps them win a round or two this year, but then does it screw them in the long term?
Yeah, and that's the tough part. It's kind of like the Sharks right now. It's like you've done so many moves to get to win the big shiny thing, and now you're paying the price for everything for that success or not success. So Sharks at 43 points at 16, 26, and 11. 11. We would have been last for not those loser points. They are currently the 5th worst team in the league. So for those on Team Tank, that means I believe a 8.5% chance at Connor Bedard. So we'll see how that goes for that. But Sunday morning, pre-Super Bowl, Sharks and Capitals. Let's hope Ovechkin doesn't go off.
No, let's hope he does. Again, they're 5th. We need to get lower in the standings. They are currently. We need to increase those lottery odds a little bit.
Come on, Coyotes. Come on, Ducks. You're only 3 points back. Come on. You know you want to. And Anaheim's been on a slowly but surely been picking up points here and there, so they're hanging in there. But,
yeah, and I'm curious again. Like, there's some teams here that I just wonder. Again, Chicago, I think is. I don't think anyone's gonna get ahead of Chicago, and I think Chicago's gonna definitely make some moves to make their team significantly worse. So I think that they're fine. But yeah, I mean, again, it would be nice if Arizona or the Anaheim could pick up a few points and help us out a little bit.
yes. We should mention as a program reminder that you will get a double dip of Teal Town on Sunday. There will be an After Dark following Sharks and Capitals. Landy will be with somebody. And then Pucknologist will return to its normal spot at 7 p.m. following the Super Bowl. So you can recap the week that was in Sharks hockey on that one. And of course, in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple, Google, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Odyssey. Always available at tealtownusa.com. Of course, if you're watching us right now on the replay or live, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That'll let you know when we do go live on the show. So I think that kind of just wraps it up, unless you got anything else to add, good sir?
I got nothing.
He's got nothing. I will say rest in peace, Burt Bacharach, the songwriter who passed away today. He was the one who wrote Do You Know the Way to San Jose? Sang by Dionne Warwick. So
there you go.
So there's a little San Jose little thing there. But so with that, we'll get out of here. For Ian, who's at Ian Blogs Hockey, I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter, the Instagram. We will be back with you Sunday afternoon as you're making your wings, your salsa, is all that good stuff. So until then, thanks for watching, and keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Sunday afternoon and Sunday night here right on the YouTube channel. Good night, everyone.